Welcome to the recording of the show.
This is Ravings, episode 11, and we're going to try some video today. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, so if you can't hear us, let us know. I know, the video quality is kind of grainy. We're poor.
Considering there are only 4 of you watching on a regular basis, most of you don't hear us anyway.
True, but now you have a little bit of faith to go with the voices. Obviously that's Bill, and I'm Tana, not vice versa.
Well, it could be vice versa. We are reversed in the camera.
It's true. Yeah, it's a little, wonky to have the camera there. And my hair looks all shitty, and I've got jojoba oil on my face, so it's real shiny. Yeah, so if you're listening to the audio, you're not getting any of this benefit.
No, not in the least bit. You just...
You should probably switch over to the video.
The video side, quickly. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about mind control, brainwashing.
Yes. And how one gets their brain washed in the first place.
That's true. You can't just use soap.
No, you could, but you won't like the results.
Well, see, I was trying like hell to find this article that I'd read years ago, and I can't find it anywhere online anymore, and the hard copy that I have is filed away somewhere, so I've got no idea where to even look for it anymore. Essentially, the whole concept of what we now know as brainwashing was started with I want to say it was a Christian church, but in like the 1700s, they came to the understanding that when you bring people into a certain situation and they're on their own without a lot of their previous backup, I guess you'd say, you can convince them through a somewhat positive reinforcement, somewhat negative reinforcement, a good combination of both, to follow your way of thinking. And essentially what this article brought it down to was, as long as you can use a beat of music that goes between 68 and 72 beats per minute and mimics the human heart.
I was going to say that sounds pretty close to the human heart.
And you need to give people a high sugar diet.
Okay.
Really all you need is constant audiovisual stimulation and a high sugar diet. And we've got that everywhere in this country.
Heck yeah, let me get some of my French vanilla coffee.
That's right, let's get some of this brainwashing juice in my head right now.
I'd like to point out my awesome coffee mug.
I'd like to point out this one says coffee.
Coffee.
Wow, the camera is marked.
I told you. But yeah, so my cup yesterday said, "Why sponsor me?" This one does not say that, but I wish it did.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, it said, "Why sponsor me?" But you had to squint really hard. Well, you were watching it on your little handheld.
Yeah, on my little handheld device.
Yeah, so no wonder you couldn't see. It was only like an inch by an inch graphics. It was small.
I could barely even tell what hat you were wearing in that video, but I could hear it.
That's my fishing hat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not reversible, but it would look like it is, but it's not reversible.
That's all right.
Yeah, I've got it sitting over here. That's why I keep glancing over there, thinking about putting it on because my hair looks like shit.
So brainwashing, there's so many examples of it in the way our society's run.
Well, if we start off with an example that everybody, I'm sure, can relate to is divorce situations. And that's just a small example that happens all the time is a set of parents will get divorced, and then they will talk to their children about some of the ills going on between the parents, and it makes them dislike one parent over another.
Well, in defense of the parents, though, I mean, a lot of times it's based on... they've got no one else that knows the entire situation the way the child would, so they speak to the child as though they're an adult and show too many negative influences in their opinions. The child begins to pick up on those.
Right.
And even if the opinion of the parent wasn't true, they begin to see the other parent in the same way that, the father or mother who's speaking negatively does.
Well, and a lot of times what the parents are saying is true. It's just age inappropriate, and it's taken out of context.
It's very true.
And you're absolutely right. It's just too much. It's too much and it's age inappropriate.
Yeah,
they're not adults.
It's best to keep that kind of shit to yourself.
Or talk to a friend of yours.
Yeah, no kidding. Go speak to another adult.
Or get a therapist.
And if you don't have an adult to speak to, it's probably because you're an asshole.
That's probably true. Why are you such a chode that no one wants to talk to you?
Yeah, there's an obvious reason you're divorced now.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my favorite things has to do with aliens.
Yes, abductions.
Yeah, there's a lot of this regressive hypnotic therapy that goes on, and one of the reasons hypnosis is not admissible in court is because it's too easy to... Well, it's just as easy to put a thought into somebody's head as it is to remove one from somebody's head in hypnosis. So a lot of times when you've got these quote-unquote reputable psychologists that are doing this alien abduction hypnotic therapy, they are putting the idea of alien abduction into the head of these people. And when you do it under hypnosis, when it starts to come back to the conscious mind, once the person's back and aware, they start to think of it as their own thoughts.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about memories is that if you don't have a complete memory, your brain will just add the extra detail.
Right.
So if you start to remember, well, yeah, there was this weird light, and then someone says, well, was there anybody else in the room? Suddenly your brain adds it, yes, there was somebody else in the room, and then if there's a presence, and not only is there a presence, but I can see these dark cloaked figures, and it just keeps adding more and more information until you have a full-blown memory that never happens.
Right. And that happens a lot. Well, one of the things you got to look out for when it comes to the whole alien abduction thing, most of them take place at night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It could
Aliens don't travel during the day.
They're never out in the daylight unless you're watching movies. But a lot of times I think there's a big possibility that people are mixing it up with a dreamlike state. And some scientists are now starting to prove that the pineal gland, what we've always referred to throughout all of history as the spiritual seat of the mind, is actually producing DMT, which is a psychedelic compound. That is probably where our dreams come from. You know, when you're having wild, crazy dreams that seem like you're tripping on something, you are. But some people can probably produce this in the waking state, but they're causing themselves to trip, basically.
Yeah, so it's a hallucination.
Right.
It's a waking dream.
It's a waking dream, and a lot of times it probably has a lot to do with why people assume they're seeing aliens, why they're feeling like they're abducted or people are watching me. And
I have an example of a waking dream that I had once that scared the shit out of me, and I'm still a little freaked out about it, and I know it could not have possibly ever actually happened. But I was sleeping in my bed and woke up, but thought I was actually awake but wasn't, and this giant spider comes creeping up over all the blankets, and I'm talking, it was a spider like this big, huge, feet wide. Yeah, it was humongous.
You can't see how far my arms are.
Right, that's how big it was. But yeah, it came creeping up over the comforter and all the pillows and blankets, and I jumped up and ran out of the house. I went, holy shit, and was gone. And I didn't come home for a couple of hours because I was that freaked out. And then thinking about it, well, obviously there can't be these giant-ass spiders. Right? There's no way these giant-ass spiders are actually in your bed. That's fucked up. And of course I went home. There's no bugs there. There's no spiders. But it scared the shit out of me, and it was so vivid and so real that I literally jumped up out of the bed and left the house.
That's awesome.
And so I can see how a person could have an experience that seems more realistic, that could be plausible, that then they're like, yeah, that happened. That's a reality.
People who don't remember their dreams, and really that's just because you're not paying as much attention to them as other people do. You know, how many people out there have had that dream where they get up out of bed and they go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, shit, I went to bed.
I've done that.
I have too. Recently.
Oh my god! Did you do it recently?
Just a little squirt, and that woke me up.
Oh my god! Yeah, I've done that, but that's the thing is, once you start to pee, you can't stop.
No, I can.
You've had to train yourself for years. But I have done that. How embarrassing! That's
you know anything about lucid dreaming?
Ooh.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
I've been kind of a practitioner since I was about 14 years old, so going on about 17 years now. I had a strong tendency for a long time to really control everything going on in my dreams if they weren't going the way I like, but that gets boring. So occasionally I'll just let them go. And I had a dream once that I don't know how the hell this happened, and it's kind of a funny story and it's weird at the same time. Like, there was this girl that I knew I was supposed to protect from these psychos that were chasing her down, and I did my whole Superman thing and ran faster than everybody else and got in between them, and the main guy stops. And he's got this, like, black leather doctor's bag with him. And he starts reaching into it. And I'm like, what are you going to do? You going to pull out a gun and shoot me? You can't kill me. I'm a god here. And he goes, no. I know how to deal with your kind. And he pulls out a bugle. And he started playing taps. Which just so happened to be my alarm clock. And my alarm clock had gone off 2 hours early that day.
Wow. Freaky. That's fucked up.
That is kind of fucked. And I love telling that story because it's never happened to me since or before. And it kind of freaks me out.
Well, I know that we stepped a little bit off the mind control topic, but not really. But I had a dream where I died, and I literally felt
I've died in my dreams many times.
Felt my body die, every cell in my body dying, and then I felt my soul step out of my body, and I'm looking over and going, what the fuck? And I'm trying to talk to the other people in the room. I'm like, why'd this happen? Because in my dream I got shot to death.
Oh, I've been stabbed, shot. I've done those falling dreams.
Yeah, oh god.
But then actually hit the ground and feel your body just smash and break. That's a psychotic dream, but it didn't wake me up.
That's scary. But so dreams can be that vivid though, where you think it actually happened, or you wake up in pain.
Well, really, if there is a unity consciousness, which a lot of people theorize that there is, who's to say you're not just experiencing something real that's not available to the normal perception of what we consider reality?
Right.
I mean, if the human brain takes in tens of thousands of pieces of information per second, but the conscious mind only recognizes a few hundred, what the hell is reality? The shit we're seeing with our eyes probably isn't. Right.
Well, and no one knows.
It's easy to control.
Well, and that's fascinating to me about, because there's that documentary Super Size Me, which I know has got a lot of flack for, some inaccuracies or whatever.
Yeah, it's got a lot of bias to it.
It does. But he was talking about, Morgan Spurlock was talking about
Quit showing off logos.
Yeah, these are my logos.
Well, no, I got one on my shirt.
That's not a sponsor. No. Not a sponsor. But, I'm checking out your logo. That is nice.
AmeriCorps.
Yeah, AmeriCorps. I like it.
I volunteered once.
Yeah.
I'm all done now.
Good for you for being involved with your community. But Morgan Spurlock on that documentary Super Size Me talked about the fast food, McDonald's specifically, putting the cheese on everything, the cheeseburgers, the bacon cheeseburgers, and then the sugary drinks, the Coca-Cola and all of that. So the casomorphins released by the cheese, and then the high sugary drink, and then the constant stimulation of the media creates that perfect environment that you were talking about for easily led people.
Absolutely. I mean, look at all the people out there. Here's the thing when it comes to a unity consciousness. If you understand how it works, and I'm sure there are people out there who have been studying it for 50 plus years, different organizations, some people have figured out what is called a neurophone. And basically what it does is it's an ultra low frequency signal, and you can make people sweat, you can make them think certain things. And they've tested this out on crowds, like they've kept the air conditioning on really high so it's nice and cool in there, but all of a sudden they pick out a small group of people and send them the signal that makes them sweat, and all of a sudden they're sweating in a cold environment. It's not that difficult to think. If you've always got a headphone on, if you've always got your Bluetooth or whatever your device is for
your phone,
and it's always just plugged into your head, and anybody can hack that damn thing and send weird signals, how do you know what thoughts are yours anymore?
Well, and not only that, but you have the constant barrage of advertisements and subliminal messages.
God, that drives me nuts. We went north of Chicago for the weekend, my wife and I. All the way there and all the way back, there was never a single point where I couldn't see an advertisement.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere. Why?
Well, they need to sell as much as possible of whatever it is they're selling.
Why? It's not even good. There's like advertisements for TV shows and everything you can imagine. Alcohol is my favorite. Because you should always think about alcohol while you're driving.
Well, truth be told about web advertising, the whole right side, the whole right column, I don't even see that column anymore.
No, I completely block it out.
The things pop up, or the things I don't notice the top of the screen, the bottom of the screen, or either side.
I try to just focus in on what I'm actually looking for when I go to that page. But out of your peripheral vision, you're still seeing that and taking it into your brain. It's always there. It's just...
That's why it's always diamond rings and stuff on mine.
Exactly.
It is. It's always diamond rings, stuff for unwed mothers. I'm like, I don't even have a baby.
Got a dog.
I've got a dog, and he's awesome. His name is Little Judah.
But he's barked and interrupted the show before.
Yes, he has. Yes, he sure has. But that's the thing about advertising is that it's so prevalent you don't even see it, but you're still being impacted by it.
You are, and it's a constant barrage of this shit. Even if you watch only DVD videos and you never watch real commercials,
well, then you've got product placement.
You've got so much product placement in the shows and the movies. What's the freaking point, man?
Well, I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one day. I love that movie series, the trilogy. I love them. But I was watching the first one, and Skeet Ulrich, the actor Skeet Ulrich, is in that film, so that's one of his first acting roles, but he doesn't have a speaking role. So you'll have to go back and watch that, and he's in...
The original movie?
Yeah, he's in the original movie.
I don't remember him.
No one does.
It's been a long time.
Corey Feldman plays the voice of one of the turtles.
Yeah. I think he wasn't Raphael, but I forgot which one he was.
I can't remember either.
Maybe Donatello or something. It's been a long time.
But at any rate, I wanted pizza so bad. Domino's. pizza specifically
You're like,
so bad.
I know this pizza sucks ass, but the turtles are eating it.
Exactly, it looks so good. But yeah, product placement like the movie Home Alone. There is Coca-Cola splashed all over that film.
Oh yeah, Coca-Cola is everywhere.
That's why I love Wayne's World, because they're so honest about it. He's like kicked back in his Reebok gear with his like Pepsi or Coke, whichever it was. They're like, the taste of a new generation. Like, I don't even know which slogan that is, which one it's for.
That was Pepsi.
Was it Pepsi?
Yeah. Why do I remember? Because it was broadcast constantly.
Yeah, little, yellow, different. So yeah, I love that.
Those were great.
I love Wayne's World because
movie.
they were just so like open with it. Like, yeah, we're doing product placement. Here it is.
Another movie that did that really well was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 2 or Return of the Killer Tomatoes, whatever it was called. And a lot of people haven't seen it. This is one of George Clooney's first movies.
Okay.
But the middle of the movie, they call cut, and somebody starts explaining, we've got to shut down, man. We don't have an advertising budget. We can't afford to do this anymore. And they just start selling products to you in the middle of the damn movie.
Like Spaceballs.
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, Spaceballs with all of their strange products. I would have bought some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, if it were real.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I definitely would have bought that crap.
Hell yeah. But,
a little better now, not too much.
And kids are not really more susceptible than adults. Everybody's susceptible to it.
Everybody can get it. God, that's scary.
Well, but you hear the same thing over and over and over again, and you believe it, whether you even realize you're believing it or not.
Well, I think a lot of the disinformation when it comes to ancient aliens and any kind of alien stuff, that's what happens. People are just berating you with shit so often, just trying to get you to believe anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think somewhere out there is truth to that shit. Very little of it reaching the actual public, or if somebody does come out with the truth on something, it's probably parodied so much that nobody's really going to believe it.
Well, yeah, when people think of aliens, the things that they think of are Stonehenge. And who built the pyramids?
Oh.
And and those bizarre alien butt probing. The butt probing from the alien abduction.
That is my favorite.
That's it. Those are the three things.
Aliens.
Yeah, the anal probing aliens who also like to kidnap cows and do that weird like medical testing on them and crop circles.
The crop circles are a little weird because there's some that I don't know how the hell it goes.
I learned the answer to the crop circles. It's angels. I have no joke. I saw a documentary about it, and they're like, well, obviously the reason why you guys can't read them is because it's angel script.
Duh, you're not fluent in that language.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what language the angels would speak.
What did you say before crop circles?
The butt probing?
Oh, no, it was the cattle mutilation.
Oh, yeah, the cattle mutilation.
I found out that, and they've done a lot of research on this, when an animal dies in an extreme heat situation, like out in the western plains where it gets incredibly hot during the summer, the gases inside will actually cause the skin to split, and it goes in perfect lines.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks like a surgical cut.
I don't know, though. I saw some where, like, the genitals were removed and the eyes and stuff. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you come to smaller scavenging carnivores, that's some of the easiest parts to take off.
That's true. That is true. As with humans, too.
Yeah, exactly. When you die, your dog's going to eat your eyes and your wiener.
It's true. Especially my little dog.
Mm-hmm.
He loves eyes.
You've got a wiener?
I have a tiny wiener. My little weenus. It's very small.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how many people won't get that joke.
But the thing about the alien abductions is that we've been so barraged with images of how campy it is that people either automatically assume it's complete bullshit, or they are such devoted believers that they're like, yeah, man, they're after me all the time.
The devoted believers are the ones that really get me.
Mm-hmm.
They will just buy into any theory, no matter how ridiculous. Have you ever listened to the show called Coast to Coast?
That one, no, I haven't heard of.
They do a lot of like conspiracy theory, aliens, ghosts, things of that nature. And I like it because sometimes they bring up good points, but most of the time it's just goofy comedic shit. There's this host named Art Bell, and he questions nothing
I love
at all.
that.
He just believes it all.
It's all true.
I mean, people will call in and they're like, there's a ghost in my room right now. And he's, really?
Where's it at?
Can you talk to it? What is it saying? Does it have a message for us?
That's hilarious.
No, not really.
It's said that your show sucks.
Yeah.
And that you make no sense. But no, it sounds like a cool show. It's just that I need a little more skepticism.
Yeah. I definitely question almost everything I hear. Sometimes you just look at things and you're like, wow, is that real? Okay, maybe. But most of the alien shit, I'm always questioning it. I believe there is something going on. I believe there probably have been races that have come here.
I believe the same thing, but have no proof of it.
Yeah, exactly. I
just like
saw
something in
a UFO once when I was a child.
Yeah.
It was quite literally, it looked like a glow-in-the-dark boomerang that was just slowly going across the sky and then all of a sudden went and took a quick turn.
Wow.
And I have no photographic evidence. It's just a story I tell when somebody's talking about aliens. So I know there's weird shit out there, whether that was a secret spy plane from the U.S. or some other country.
The weather balloon.
Yeah, it was
Weather
just swamp
balloon.
gas reflected off of Venus.
Always Venus.
I saw something, and I have no clue what it was, so it's unidentified, and it was up in the air, so it was flying, and I'm pretty sure that was an object.
There you go. But that's the thing is that when you start to talk about UFOs, you inevitably run into those two camps of people, the people that it will never be a possibility, or the people that are such diehard believers that they're scary to talk to.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to be somewhere in the middle, like be open to, okay, maybe it's a possibility, and maybe it's real. I don't know. I haven't had that experience myself, but I expect there to be a certain level of skepticism brought to the table. I want
somebody's got to question it.
Yeah, I want somebody to question it. And, well, it's kind of like the Loch Ness Monster, and so many of the photographs have since been proven to not be real, but that really doesn't dissuade me from thinking that there is no Loch Ness Monster, because I really think there is.
There's a very good possibility that there is. And considering how long the story's been told and depictions of it have been drawn, you've got to understand when you look at the pictures and drawings of what people claim they see, it looks like a plesiosaur, an aquatic dinosaur, basically. But people were drawing it even prior to our knowledge of dinosaurs having existed.
Right. Well, the stories of the Ogopogo go back like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Well, and they're all over the world. It's not just Scotland. I mean, everywhere that has a huge lake.
But it's all within the same like latitude and longitudinal line.
Right. It's all like within like a certain temperate climate. Well, no, not necessarily. Well, yeah, but it goes north and south of the equator. I should probably say it that way because there are some in South America. And
but it's still like relational. It's just as far away from the equator south as it is north.
Right.
So it's just a certain space here to here that they can apparently exist.
And that comes to the same stories with Sasquatch or any of the Bigfoot-like creatures around the world, because it's not just the United States where they're talked about. But the Native Americans, they thought they were just another tribe of people. They talked about it like it was another tribe of people. They drew depictions of them on rock walls as these ape-faced creatures. There were no apes in this part of the world. How the fuck did they know that?
They were just those hairy dudes from down the road.
Yeah.
That's it.
The Cousin-It family.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's got to be some truth to it. I mean, when you look at with the Bigfoot story, and people are always like, oh, you believe in Bigfoot? You must be nuts. You got to remember, like 120 years ago, well, no, I guess it would be closer to 200 years now. People who would go to Africa as explorers would hear these stories from the tribesmen about giant, hairy, man-like creatures. They're peaceful protectors of the forest, and people, they're crazy, and eventually somebody caught a pinhole camera photograph of one. And then all of a sudden, we started finding them everywhere. And now we call them mountain gorillas.
Were they wearing watches?
Yeah, exactly.
I saw that video.
But when you get to areas like that are really densely forested, like the Pacific Northwest and parts of Africa, I've seen a photograph from Africa. And it's just this small little plain going down into a valley between mountains. And it's really heavily wooded and lots of lush greenery. And you have to read the description underneath the photo, and then they start telling you which quadrants of the picture to look in, and you finally start seeing, oh shit, there are gorillas everywhere.
Oh,
they're perfectly hidden and camouflaged. They're not the same color as the background, but they hide themselves really well. And when you get into an area like the Pacific Northwest, and that is a rainforest, it's a jungle.
Yeah, it's not like a meadow with a couple trees.
You can't see shit 50 feet from you.
Not even
you know if an animal who's really comfortable there and knows the area well isn't standing right next to you just watching.
Yeah.
I've been snuck up on by deer in forests in this area, and they're not that heavily forested.
Right, yeah, and deer are not the quietest of the walkers.
No, not at all. Anything is possible. But question it a little bit. Have a little bit of skepticism in you.
Yeah, well, and especially with knowing how easily that the human race is swayed by things. So just because you've heard a story a bunch of times doesn't mean it's true. But also, just because something seems implausible doesn't mean it's not true.
Exactly.
So just don't really make up your mind until you've gotten some evidence.
Get some kind of personal experience of the situation before you think you know.
Well, I haven't been abducted by aliens thus far.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, actually, I tweeted something about that the other day. I should
probably go get some hypnotic regression therapy. No?
You should, but yeah, I tweeted something about that the other day. It said something like, I don't know that I've been abducted by aliens, but I have my suspicions. But that's how a lot of people, they just view the world as, well, I don't know it could happen, but it probably did.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
but yeah, with humans being so easily swayed, and with the alien abduction theories and whatever, that they come up with movies like Fire in the Sky. We talked about that a little bit ago.
Walton.
Yeah, but why would these guys go through all the hell that they went through if nothing actually happened to them? They did not benefit in any way except to be treated like shit.
Yeah, except like 30 years later, somebody might have given them each a small check to write their story and turn it into a movie.
But they were treated so terribly.
They were treated horribly, and there's no way that somebody would keep that story under their belt for 30 years and not just start cracking up laughing in front of the camera at one point.
Right, and the only thing is that maybe, I don't know, but maybe it honestly didn't happen, but he really thinks it did, because you said that he passed a bunch of polygraphs and stuff. Yeah,
they polygraphed everybody in the group, because it was a group, well, anybody that's seen the movie or read any of the books on it, it was a group of loggers working late, and they were coming back after dark from the forest, saw a light. Travis Walton gets out of the truck and goes to investigate, and everybody claims that he was sucked up into the light. They all freaked out. They took off. They contacted the police immediately and said, look, our buddy's been taken by something. They didn't even really try to describe what it was at first. And then I forget how many days later it was, but he shows up, and he tells the story of, hey, I was picked up by a ship. This is what I saw. This is what I experienced. I didn't realize I was gone that long.
Right.
But those guys were under investigation because the police thought they'd killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And they all passed polygraphs on that. When he came back, the same police had polygraphed him, and he passed all of those. Who knows? Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't.
Well,
it could all be bullshit.
And maybe it's complete bullshit, and maybe it really did happen, but there's a lot of missing people out there.
There are.
And I would say that almost all of them fell victim to other humans, because that's how we roll. But what if a couple of them really were abducted by some kind of outside force? I have no idea. I can't say.
Yeah, it's really hard to. Now, another thing that I've been reading up on recently, which I find really fascinating, most people who are researchers into Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatnot, any kind of cryptic animal that's unknown to science, they're starting to claim, well, over the course of the past 20 years, that a Sasquatch is actually an omnivore, and some people claim they've seen evidence of them hunting deer and other large game, which would make sense. I mean, if they're as human-like as people claim, they probably want to eat meat like we do. Well, some people claim that they've been hunted by these creatures. And now there's a group trying to put together a database of people who have gone missing in national parks and things, wondering if they're becoming food.
Like, this is going to sound totally stupid, and I know it before I even say it, it's going to sound stupid
all the time. Let it rip.
Well, if in fact there are really Sasquatch creatures, is it possible that they're actually just Neanderthal people?
Well, that's another thing. When you go and look at all the different countries in the world that have sightings of these things, and it's literally every country that has forested areas has sightings, and has for hundreds of years. All the depictions of them, they look slightly different, varying from region to region. And those pictures have been around for hundreds of years, but now, when we're really working towards anthropology and paleontology and looking at prehumans, those pictures are matching up to every known hominid. It's almost as if they're not all extinct. Some of them are still alive in different parts of the world. And if that's the case, more than likely they have been hunted by humans at some point in history. And have either a genetic memory or a passed down stories to stay the fuck away from these hairless apes.
Right, they'll kill you.
They're crazy.
They are. Yeah, we sure as hell are. But so if in fact that these creatures may be some kind of Paleolithic humanoid, then it would kind of make sense. Hominid.
Sorry.
But yeah, it would kind of make sense that they would definitely stay away from other humans. But I wonder if their genetics would be close enough to breed with regular people.
There's a lot of anthropologists think that one of the reasons that there are very much fewer of them, or the reasons that those lines had died out, is because they were outbred by us.
Well, and we are prolific
with them. We'll fuck anything. But when you look through humanity, I mean, different parts of the world, people all have these different ape-like features. And if we all have an ape-like ancestor, and then we all bred with different hominids throughout history, there's a good possibility that we can screw anything. Well, we just can't have babies with chimps. Well, we haven't tried bonobos, have we?
But it's possible for things that you wouldn't think to be able to mate. Like at our local fair, they always bring the Z-donk, which is a half zebra, half donkey, and it's these
they're horse-like.
They're horse-like creatures. But yeah, there would be no reason in the wild why a zebra and a donkey would ever come into contact with each other.
No.
But they force them to make a baby and then carry it around to different fairs.
I mean,
Z-donk. Look it up.
Any kind of dog. I mean, no matter how varying, you could have if there are stools available, you could have like Chihuahuas breeding with Great Danes.
I hope that Chihuahua's the dad for reals. Oh my God.
Sister-in-law had a great dog. She was a Basset Hound and German Shepherd mix, and she looked just like a German Shepherd, except her ears were a little more pointy, and she was just about half the height.
That's cute.
But I always wondered, who was the father there?
Yeah.
I could just see a Basset Hound up on a stool like, look at what I'm getting.
Look at me. Whoa.
Thoroughbred, are you? I got some of that.
But yeah, aside from people being so convinced about alien abductions, there are all kinds of false memories that can be created.
Oh yeah.
Abuse is a really famous one.
That we were just talking earlier about that case.
Yeah.
Was that in the 80s?
It was in the 80s. I believe it was in California. It was that daycare center that all the employees of the daycare center were investigated and arrested for satanic child abuse, sexual creepiness. But it turns out that it never happened.
Yeah, well, the kids were, after their hypnosis, they were all telling the stories of the satanic rituals they had to undergo, the sexual touching and all this. And it turned out that all those thoughts were being planted in their head by the hypnotist.
Well, I know that there's a company locally, a therapeutic company locally, that helps interview children who've been abused. And they've now passed different regulations where an abused child can only be questioned once about an incident. Because the more a child is questioned about it, the more details get added that never happened.
Right. Well, you got to fill in blanks.
Yeah, and so since children are so easily swayed about things, they do one attempt at questioning with recording, and then that's the evidence used for court. Because it happened because there was a little boy that had been sexually abused by some family members, and he had been questioned about it so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times during the evidence gathering portion of the trial, that when you would ask the little boy, "How are you?" he'd say, "My anus hurts."
Oh, wow.
And he hadn't been abused for many, many, many years, but he was so used to being questioned that that's the only thing he would talk about then, is that, he touched my anus hurts.
That's
crazy.
It's
fucked up. And so that's why they had to they're like, we're really fucking these kids up by repeatedly questioning about these things that happen to them.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know who Darren Brown is?
That name does sound familiar, but I'm not placing it.
He's British. He has his own TV show, and he's a hypnotist.
Okay.
And he does these weird experiments with hypnosis for his TV show. And I don't know how biased it is. I've never looked into that. It's just entertaining to watch. But he's shown things like how easily he could turn somebody into an assassin. Like Saran, you know who that is, the guy who shot RFK. Mm-hmm. He used that basic theory that he was under hypnosis and turned into like a Manchurian Candidate type. Well, and he got a guy to actually pull out a fake gun that he thought was real and take a shot at Stephen Fry, the comedian.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary, but he's just basically showing you how easy it is to put thoughts in people's minds and control their behavior.
Well, on a similar note, there is a type of therapy called EMDR. And it's used for treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. So let's say that there's a traumatic incident. I'll just make up an incident that never happened. Well, I'm sure it's happened to somebody, which is nobody I know. But let's say that you and I were in a car accident, and I was killed horribly in front of you. You saw all kinds of horrible carnage, and you're kind of fucked up from that, which I would understand a person would be. So you're now afraid to go in cars. You're a little paranoid about things happening. So what an EMDR therapist would do is bring you back to that incident, wait and make sure that your body's good and freaked out, you're starting to sweat, you're getting a little jittery, you're really having a panic issue, and then they'll do this rapid eye movement thing with their hand and make you follow their fingertips with your eyes, and what it does is it's supposed to reset the circuitry of your brain, so you get up to this high anxiety level, and then they force your brain to change and to channel it differently so that then when you think of those traumatic experiences, you don't have the exaggerated startle response that you used to have.
What does it stand for again? Immersion something?
It's eye movements. So I can't recall. It's something about eye movement, though. I can't remember now off the top of my head what the acronym stands for.
That's a good thing. Like, I've known people who were absolutely terrified of thunderstorms and things. And
cotton balls.
Yeah.
I've known someone who has phobia of cotton balls. A good friend of mine
in high school, man, she was terrified of moths.
Okay.
I have no idea why. She was never able to explain it, so...
But yeah, you can take someone who has that deep level of anxiety and cause their brain to, when they start to panic and start to feel that, it recircuits their brain and just the chemical flows a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because you just teach your brain to do something different with that information.
Well, I know we've talked about that in the past, like people who get big depression problems and they feel like they have to be on medications for the rest of their life. And really what it is when you start thinking in negative patterns, you're forcing the synapses of the brain to fire in a certain direction, and you're basically ignoring all the other pathways that are available and letting them erode away.
And that's what happens over time is that the other pathways erode completely away and they're not even capable of being used then.
Right. You've got to force yourself to use other pathways and think in different directions. I can understand how that kind of therapy would work. Yeah,
but that therapy is just one way of... basically tricking your brain into doing something more helpful for you than hurtful. And it's not much different than using hypnotic, because it's kind of hypnotic when they do those sessions with you. But it's not any different than hypnotic. Yeah, watch it. Yeah, but when you use...
Take off your pants.
Whoa. Okay.
You.
What? Oh, take off your pants.
It's cool. Nobody else is watching.
Yeah, this webcam only works one way, so...
Yeah, I keep looking at my face in here.
I know, I can't help but looking, but yeah, that's why I taped that thing up there so we know where the actual camera was.
I just decided, fuck it, I need to look at you like we're having a conversation.
I know that, I just keep staring at you. That thing's
gonna keep looking at me anyway.
I wish we could make the little picture bigger, though, so that way I could really stare at myself and look at my Janet from Three's Company haircut going on today. Carol Brady of the later years.
I've got the whole Dalai Lama thing going on.
I like it.
Down.
Yeah, I like it.
It serves great purposes. I hate when I meet people and they're like, "What are you, skinhead?" I'm like, no. For one, I never have to worry about how my hair looks. I'm always having a good hair day.
It's true.
Number two, it really hides the gray.
Do you have gray hairs?
I do.
You
can't tell because it's so short.
Yeah, I've known you for years and I've never noticed a single one.
I've had them for probably close to 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah. But it blended in well with the blonde, and now that my hair's starting to turn a little darker, it's better to just shave it up. When I tried growing it out a couple of years ago, it was during a time when we weren't seeing each other very often, and there were just patches of gray everywhere, and I'm like...
You probably look distinguished.
Yeah, I'm sure I would if I wore glasses.
There's that. You with your perfect vision.
Not really. Yeah. I'll just have to get a fake pair.
I've got some. Real ones and fake ones.
Oh, there you go.
Use them for my geek costume.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The I Love Nerds costume.
Love it. You know what? We should do a show in our costumes. You can wear the Nerds box.
There you go.
We could do a show about gaming.
I really think we should do some nerd stuff here because we can
reach a
whole new audience. Oh,
we are both super geeks, and we just I don't know. We've been afraid to branch out and touch our geeks.
I was at my sister-in-law and her husband's house last weekend, and that's where we were north of Chicago, and we're sitting around a bonfire in the backyard, and they start talking about Man of Steel, which is starting today, and I'm going to see it. I'm a huge Superman fan.
Yeah.
But they started talking about different DC comics and Marvel and all the movies that are being made, and I just started going off on this tangent about comics, and it was like 10 minutes in, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I should be on a Kevin Smith show.
I tell ya. Yeah.
I've got way too much useless knowledge on this subject. It serves nothing but entertainment purpose.
Yeah, I was never a comic book person, but I do love the comic book based movies. I love every X-Men movie that has ever come out.
The X-Men movies were really well
done. Every one of them is so good. I love the X-Men movies.
There's a new one coming soon. I don't remember what they were titling it, but I've seen a preview a couple months back.
You know it'll be good.
Yeah.
Come on.
It will be. And I heard the absolute greatest line. I listened to Fat Man on Batman, which is Kevin Smith's show. And he interviewed...
Batman on Batman? That's hilarious.
Batman on Batman.
I love it.
It's a good show. I like Kevin Smith.
I do too.
He's good in just about everything he does. But he was interviewing the, I want to say the president of DC.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about the Man of Steel movie coming out. And the guy said he didn't want to give much away, but when you watch this movie, much like Batman Begins, you're going to believe that Superman could really exist. And I thought, well, that's good enough for me. It can't be a piece of shit like Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Because if it is, I'm going to cry like a girl.
I don't know. There has been a couple kind of shitty Batman movies, though.
Yeah, I mean...
A couple that weren't as epic, I should say.
Holy crap, this should just be a completely different show. But really, when you look back, like, all you had for Batman for the longest time was that Adam West campy TV series.
Pow! Bam!
Kazoo!
Oh, God.
Yeah, just terrible. But it was all people had, and a lot of people based their Batman knowledge off of what they've seen in that show. Very few had actually read a lot of the comics, and there are a dozen different storylines out there that are amazing. But when the Michael Keaton version came out in '89, that was like dark and badass for its time. I
love that version.
That was a great movie, but then they started making it a little too campy and comic booky.
The one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and was he Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze, that one was a really bad one. Really, I mean, damn.
Yeah,
I stopped watching them for years.
I didn't even finish watching that movie.
Oh,
that was so bad. But the Batman Begins, those three movies, those were amazingly well done. And really, very possible. I mean, there were some plot holes, but it's Hollywood.
I didn't like the Penguin character either in the movie.
No. I like Danny DeVito.
I love Danny DeVito. But the whole, like, just that particular version of the Penguin, I can't stop looking at his ass. And it's all, like, big and droopy and, like, big baby-like droopy ass. And then he waddles, and I'm like, and I can't stop looking at the crack. I can't stop. I don't like
his Penguin anyway. He's just an old man with a pointy nose and fucked up hands. That's not a supervillain.
Well, and he, like, would bite people's faces. Like, what the fuck is that? And he wasn't even that smart. I don't know who created all that stuff in his little lair, but I know it wasn't him. He didn't have, like, his thumbs didn't work right. Come on. Come the fuck on.
No thumb, no power.
Exactly. You want this?
That's why we control you, dogs.
It's true.
Yeah, I've always been a Superman fan. But there's talk of them doing a Justice League movie, which is, for those who don't know, it's like the Avengers, but in the DC universe. All the other good characters. But what they're gonna have to do a Wonder Woman movie. And God, I hope somebody figures out how to do a good one. Because her storyline it's a cool beginning that she's basically one of the descendants of the Greek gods.
Who would play her, though? I can't think of an actress that I would feel comfortable playing her. Because Wonder Woman has the potential to be so epic and just so powerful of a character that most of the female leads I can think of will not be able to succeed in her greatness.
Well, I mean, I don't even know who the hell this guy is that's playing Superman. He might be brand new to the movie.
Well, that would be fine with me. Pick an unknown.
Yeah, pick somebody who's unknown. Some girl who's a little taller than average and well-built, looks strong, and can play serious. Just give somebody brand new the role and let her run with it. As long as you've got a good director and a good script, Hollywood, listen, you've got to start writing real scripts, stories, character development, plots that don't fall apart in the middle.
Well, I mean, yeah, how many times have you watched a movie and you're like, that didn't even make sense, that couldn't have happened that way?
I hate that. Like, buddy cop movies where, all of a sudden we're best of friends, we'll die for each other. Wait, why didn't we like each other 30 seconds ago? No character development. Nothing. It's just getting sad, and I don't even go to the movies very often. This time I'm going to because I'm a huge Superman dork.
You're so funny. But
I like it.
Yeah, I'd also kind of like y'all to quit remaking movies that were awesome to begin with and then ruining them. And I swear to God,
if you terrible to begin with, and you're just making it worse.
Well, I swear to God, if you remake The Goonies, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Oh,
and I've heard rumors. I know, and you better not do it. And let's see, other movies you should leave the fuck alone. Oh God, there's so many. The Labyrinth. Leave it the fuck alone. Please don't remake it. I've heard a couple rumors.
I've heard.
And how could you ever? There's no way you'll ever be able to up the David Bowie package shots. I mean, you can't possibly reproduce those without it looking campy.
We'll design a better cad piece.
I love that movie. Yeah, I got my little niece to watch it when she was small, and she ran around screaming, "I want to watch Davey Bowie!" for weeks. It was awesome.
Dance.
Yeah, dance magic. Oh yeah.
That was such a good movie. That was one of the first VHSs that we owned when I was a kid, and man, I watched it all the damn time. It was
Hello.
Great. I tell you what, I have heard rumors though that they're going to remake They Live.
I don't think I saw the first one.
Really?
Yeah, and that's an older movie, isn't it?
Yeah, mid-'80s. Well,
Okay.
probably about 87, 88, somewhere around there. Essentially, there's like an alien race that's taken over humanity and nobody knows about it.
That's like 25 years ago.
And I know.
Right? That's not an old movie. What?
Yeah,
there's a whole generation of kids that weren't even alive.
But there's this guy
They've gone to
played by
college
Roddy Piper. Oh shit! It's so scary. I'm not that fucking old, people. Roddy Piper, his character in this movie, he finds these glasses. They're basically sunglasses, but when you put them on, it decodes all the misinformation and brainwashing that's put on you by your alien masters.
That's what we need.
But he puts them on in one scene. I was thinking about it on my drive through Chicago, seeing all these damn billboards. Because when he puts them on, all the billboards just turn into things that are like white backgrounds with black lettering that say things like consume, obey, breed. And that's really all I'm seeing as I'm driving down the highway anymore is just these shitty signs that say the same crap.
Well, I mean, but really how 1984 is that?
Very.
And I just saw on Facebook and Twitter yesterday that sales of 1984 have gone up, I think they said by 3,000%. Ever since the NSA information has been leaked that they've been gathering Verizon phone records.
Oh, yeah.
So that, people are just going hog wild buying up that book. I guess they must have never read it before. It's only, I don't know,
it was actually required reading for a long time.
Yeah, when we were in school, yeah.
Personally, I don't like the book all that much. I don't think it was that well written, but the storyline is freaking amazing. Don't bother watching the movie. The movie sucked.
Oh, yeah, I never did.
Every version that I've ever seen of it sucked.
Well, but the way that the televisions watch you back has always freaked me out. But then, I mean, what do we have?
Wait,
the webcam.
This thing's looking at us right now!
And the lights on. But yeah, I'm one of those paranoid people that puts tape over my webcam.
Why not? I mean, how many hackers are out there spreading pictures of naked people walking
and they're going to want to love to see me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with all
I'll show you what's going on in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. I don't even like it. Like the people who get their smartphones with the camera and it clips to their belt with the camera pointing out. You know, people are able to hack into that shit.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is providing a bigger database for the cameras.
Well, but then they want us to think that we're being paranoid about people who are hacking us. But at the same time, make sure you save all of your personal information because people will steal your identity.
Right.
So which is it? Is it that easy to hack our information or is it not? One or the other.
I love taking the more philosophical route on that one. I always say, if I'm the only one who can ever truly know who I am, how can identity theft ever be possible?
That's
true.
You
can't take me. I don't even know who I am completely.
I don't know.
This ride isn't over yet.
There is that lady that I knew that got wrestled around by the police because her identity had been stolen, and they thought that she was
a child molester.
A child molester, yeah. And that was so fucked up. And ever since then, and that's been many years ago when I was like going to community college 100 years ago. Before I went to university, yeah, that was like way back. And it was such a terrifying thought that that's never left my mind. And so it's definitely possible for someone else to totally fuck up your life.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we say enough bullshit. One of these days the black vans are going to come pick us up, so fuck it. What are we going to do, Jack?
But I like to think that my cell in Guantanamo is probably going to be covered with, like, the transcripts of our shows.
Well,
a little bit of everything I've ever looked up that pissed them off.
The first thing I'm going to do when I get to Guantanamo is demand my socialized health care. I want my fucking health care, motherfuckers.
Michael Moore told me you guys have this.
Right? We just want the same as the evildoers are getting. Nothing extra, just the same. It was so funny. I laughed so hard when I saw that.
He's a great movie maker. Even if his shit is a little bit biased, I love watching his films.
Well, no matter what.
He brings up great ideas.
Yeah, he does. And no matter what, you're always going to be biased. There's whatever you believe, and it's always going to have your little bit of slant on things. So just come to realize that, and that's why you have to do much research. You can't just take one or two people's ideas and be like, that's what I believe. That's your belief system, because that's fucked up.
Absolutely.
Then you're the worst kind of sheep.
A great piece of advice that I heard, and I don't know who the quote came from, but it's, believe in he who says he's searching for truth. Ignore anyone who claims they found it.
For real.
The truth is a powerful thing.
Yeah, well, that which can be understood is not understood, so...
That's right. If you think you know quantum physics, you don't know quantum physics.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about quantum physics and the basis of reality and the basis of trying to brainwash people into believing certain things. But, like, what do you think that patriotism is? You've been sat and told since you were a small child in kindergarten. Most of us were taught the pledge when we were little. And that's just something you're born, you are born and are raised with growing up. That, you're a Merkin. And these are your colors. I love to use the word Merkin.
Do you know what a Merkin is?
I do.
For those of you who don't, that's a wig for your genitals. I'm a real Merkin.
I'm a Merkin. But Emperor, President Bush, when he used to talk about the Merkins, he meant to say American, but he just had the word pronunciation.
Missing chromosomes.
Yeah, but he's American for your genitals. I didn't expect you to actually define it. That's so funny.
Some people don't know. I like to educate.
That's true. But, so you're raised from being a little kid about how, important the United States is and how we were there to help everybody else. And if it wasn't for us, the rest of the world would be falling apart. And so then we
rule.
Yeah, and then we take the big flashing fireworks to celebrate different things that are patriotic, and everybody's got to get their red, white, and blue stuff that goes on sale right before any major holiday. And it's just fucked up. And you drive around town, you see the flags everywhere, and you hear the songs on the radio and the little speeches, and all of that stuff is fine. But really, why is our country better than every other country in the world? I don't know.
It's just the piece of dirt you were lucky enough to be born on.
Right. And I wasn't born in Bangladesh, so that's why I don't believe that Bangladesh is the best country in the world.
Exactly. And really, the whole concept is going to be going away. When you look at what's going on with the internet and how widely spread it is, and how people from other countries are getting involved with one another and learning to interact and learning about each other's cultures, the whole idea of borders is going to fade. Unless they take away the internet, which isn't very likely. But it's a stupid idea. It worked well for the time when you had to protect the little tiny bit of resources that you had in your kingdom, and you had to be afraid of those people over there. You don't need that anymore. We have the technology to make everything you need everywhere that you ever want to be. There's no reason for this bullshit anymore.
There's really not. And I just... No reason. So the Merkin, if anybody can find a Merkin and send it to us, that would be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I would love to have a tool to pay or a cunt cover. That would be awesome.
A cunt cover.
That would be so awesome. And because I've never actually seen one, and please don't send me pictures of them because I really don't want to see your junk, because I have access to X-Hamster myself, and I can look at all the porn I want to see, and then I can curtail it to my personal likes and dislikes. But yeah, I just...
If it's a brand new Merkin,
packaging, please.
I would not use a used one, but I will totally stick that thing right to my forehead
and do a show. Sure.
I don't give a fuck.
But the thing about the codpiece covers, the hairy codpiece covers, is so many people are going Brazil style. Then why do they even make such a thing?
I don't know.
Is there anybody that's like, man, my bush just isn't hairy enough? What the fuck is that?
I've known guys back in high school who were almost bald, getting the whole horseshoe thing going on up top, and it's very possible that you start losing it down there as well. Mine hasn't even started turning gray all the way yet. I got a few little here and there, getting the gray bush.
Well,
but I don't care enough about it.
No, of course not. But I can't believe that there's actually enough interest to warrant having such a product.
Well, I know the reason that it came about in the first place had to do with the fact that lice was very prevalent once upon a time.
The crabs.
And, the crabs. In order for people to get rid of that shit and not spread it around, they would have to shave. And then prostitutes...
Wash their ass.
Yeah, wash your dirty ass, people. Mm-hmm. Prostitutes wanting to look like they're actually grown-ups would put on a fake piece of hair in their crotch just to look like they're okay and clean.
That's so funny.
But I wonder how many of the bugs kind of developed to, I can live in the fake hair. That's not a problem.
Well, they have that big prevalence with bugs underneath the head wigs during, the ancient times of the 1800s. Way back then.
Way back in the old... That's not that long ago.
No, but yeah, people's hair would come out in tufts, and it was all gross and scaly and grotesque under there, under those big, giant judge hats, helmet hair things. You know what I'm talking about. The really tall, parliament hats.
Yeah, the fake hair. They still wear that shit in Parliament.
I know, right? And I'm like, I want to see your real hair and make sure it's not all scaly under there.
How fucking dumb does your system have to be? And I'm sorry if you're British. I'm not hating on you for being born anywhere. But what the fuck kind of idiot we can't make laws without wigs. We must wear a wig. You're not professional without the white-haired wig.
It's true.
Why, because somebody did it a long time ago? Fuck those people. Those people are dead. Do it a different way now.
I don't understand how it helps the judicial process. Maybe it somehow makes them seem more, other than judicial, maybe it helps them be anonymous. You can't tell who it is because of their hair.
Not necessarily. I mean, facial shapes are still different. You can identify people. But really, it's just part of the system. It's the tradition of the way we've always done it. The same with our politicians wearing the little flag pin on their lapels.
Or the judges with their big
flag. We need a big wooden hammer to make this show go.
Let's stir things up a little. I'm sick of doing everything the same. It's clearly not working.
Yeah, no shit. Let's have people in. I would really love to see a politician show for the next presidential election. Just dress like I do. Shirt, jeans, fuck it.
Yeah.
Look, these are the problems. This is what we got to do to fix it. And if that asshole starts talking about giving money to other countries again, you should probably shoot him.
Not advocating violence.
You can't do that, and I don't really advocate violence. I say that shit just out of my own weird sense of humor.
He does.
I do. I'm a weird guy.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I vote we wrap things up because we're nearing an hour.
Yeah, we'll see how you like the video version.
Yeah,
obviously, not a big, expensive backboard here. It's a white wall.
It's freshly painted 3 years ago, maybe 4.
Maybe we'll put some nice pictures on it next time.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
There is a poster in the other room I really like to put up here, but I don't think we'll be able to read it.
I'll start putting my drawings up there.
Yeah, I really would like that. But yeah, so we're going to wrap things up and stay tuned for some details about some contests we're going to be having.
Yeah, I think we're going to start a contest probably on Facebook, or actually we could do it on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll see what's going on.
Well, anything we put on Facebook automatically goes to Twitter.
That's true. So look for it on both sides. Tell your friends because the contest will begin soon.
Yeah.
And you'll have to be subscribed or liked to one of our pages in order to get to it.
Yeah, so if you want to win something awesome, the prize is Bill's cats. He's got 2 of them. We're kidding. No. That's not the prize.
You can't give away animals, apparently.
No.
It's hard to ship them.
It's true. But yeah, so we're going to wrap things up and listen for details about the contest. And also check out my personal podcast, Hannah Talks. And Bill's going to be releasing his coming up sometime shortly.
Yeah,
not today.
No, not today. But we're probably going to have a couple of new ones coming out in the next month or 2. We'll see.
And so we're going to be branching out and let us know what you think. We are getting a little low on the comment section.
Yeah, no shit.
Comment the shit out of it, I would.
Talk about it. Tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah.
All right. See ya, folks.
Bye. Peace.